Hey there, Stampers, and thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to be having some fun with candy. It's Halloween time. We're going to be making this really stinking cute Witches Broom Tootsie Pop out of recycled packing paper. True story. It's time to go green. Recycle some of that paper. Woo! It's a fun project too. Let's get started. Do you see what this is? There is nothing I love more than opening up a Stampin' Up order. Yes, it's my favorite time. So we have all of these fun goodies inside, and then we have all of this packing paper. And what do we do with it? We chuck it, of course. Who cares about the packing paper? All we want to see is the stamps. Okay, so maybe you don't totally chuck it. We probably recycle it some way, shape, or form, right? For me, it goes in the paper recycling barrel. Until now. It has these little perforated parts in it where they rip it off when they're packing it. So I ripped up maybe about 2 panels and just folded that in half. And then I just folded it over onto itself. Yeah, approximately 8 inches panels. So we have quite a thick layer of packing paper here. And I'll tell you why that's important in a second. So what I'm sliding in here, and what you probably won't be able to see, is the glass mat from Stampin' Up that goes with our circle scissors. And on top of that, I'm putting our folded pile of packing paper. So you can make it different sizes on here. I actually set it out to the biggest size, which is about 6-inch diameter. It makes sense to do multiples of these at a time because the packing paper is so very thin. The circle scissors was really made to cut like regular paper and cardstock. So this is so thin and a little bumpy, and it tends to get bunched up in here if you do thin layers. But if you do thick layers, it cuts much nicer. But you may find that it bunches up a little bit, and don't get discouraged if that happens. So I'm going to just go ahead and take the blade and just cut right around. Wow, mine happened to pop out perfectly this time, but they didn't always. So if they do get stuck and they get a little ripped, it's totally fine. It just adds to our project. Now, a couple of them, they may not pop out as you get closer to the bottom. Just take your scissors and cut them out. It does not have to be perfect. If you're making a whole bunch of these at once for a class, for kids at school, for work, for your family, you could do multiples at once, but for this video, I'm just going to make one at a time. For each pop, I found it worked best to have 2 circles. I just kind of roughly marked the center. It's not exact, but just so I have an idea where that is. And then just start cutting. Some are thinner, some are thicker. It's a broom. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't want to go all the way up to the center. Leave yourself at least an inch and a half diameter up there. And I'm going to be totally honest with you. At first, I thought this stick looked so good that the lollipop actually came with a black stick. I seriously was looking everywhere for Tootsie Pops with black sticks. Stop laughing. Turns out, Stampin' Right marker, and even I was fooled. Don't forget the very tip. Now, that might take a second or two to dry. Through the magic of YouTube, I happen to have one already dry. Now, you can just go ahead and just poke it right through that hole, but I actually found sometimes it ripped and it was easier to use my paper piercer and Mat Pack and just pop that hole first and then stick it through. Look, it also be a little hula skirt. So stinking cute. I'm going to pull that up and just tie it real tight at the base of the lollipop with some linen thread. And I've wrapped that linen thread around there a few times. And then we'll just tie that in a knot. And our broom part is done. But it's so not complete without this beautiful, cute tag. For this step, I'll be using the Beautiful Occasions Clear Mount Stamp Set. Be sure to check out my Clear Mount Stamp Set video and you can see how to mount these 2 separately. Okay, using a basic black ink pad from Stampin' Up, we're going to stamp the boot and the words on some very vanilla cardstock. Our 2 3/8-inch scallop circle punch punches out the boot. Remember that all of these stamps and punches and markers and inks that we're going to be using are available in my online store. Punched out a black panel with 2 1/2 inch. I'm going to use some snail adhesive to stick. This is 7/8 of an inch by 1 3/4. All the dimensions are available on my blog at this address. I'm using some of Stampin' Up silver glimmer paper with the itty bitty flower punch. And now we're going to have some fun with markers. First, I'm going to color this little glimmer paper flower with my Tangerine Tango marker. It matches our project. It's like a little tangerine glimmery flower. And then, this is a really fun way to color in the boot, just drawing circles inside the circles. Super cute. I'm going to use an old olive marker to color in the heel and the strap on our boot. Both Tangerine Tango and Old Olive markers are available in the Brights collection. You can get the Brights collection of markers and get these both. That layers onto our circle with some snail. I'm going to punch a hole in both layers with an 1/8 of an inch hole punch. And then string that through our twine. And just tie that in a loose knot. And that, my pretties, is how to make a witch's broom out of a Tootsie Pop. And that concludes part 1 of my series on popping into Halloween with the Witches Broom. Both of these inspired by my friends Susan Adams and Janet Baker, the fabulous duo. Stay tuned tomorrow for this super cool popcorn treat bag. And be sure to visit my blog for tons more super cool ideas and inspiration. Remember, you can purchase all of these supplies through my online store. Thanks for joining me today.